Today we're going to talk about high arched feet, and this little guy right here shows what a high arched foot looks like. You can see extremely high arch through here. Now, some of the problems associated with a high arch are, number one, secondary simply to the fact that these bones here, the metatarsal bones, are angled down so much. So if you have a high arched foot, instead of your bones here, these metatarsal bones being angled like this, they're angled more like that. And you can see that, you can imagine if they were at 90 degrees, how much force there would be under the ball of the foot. Well, for every degree these things go up like that or go down, that increases force under the ball of the foot. So people with high arched feet tend to get a lot of pain under the ball of the foot. The second area they get pain is under the heel for the same reason, is that the heel is bearing much more weight than it should. So a high arched foot, you're bearing almost all your weight on the ball of the foot and on the heel and almost nothing in between. In fact, there was a study out a few years ago that looked at what percentage of people in the United States have foot pain. And in general, it's about 20% of the population at any one time. If you have a high arched foot, it's upwards of 60%. Now, the good thing is those problems are fairly easy to treat. What we're going to do is put something inside your shoe, an orthotic device that transfers pressure off of the heel and off the ball of the foot and gets more pressure through here. The problem is if you go out and buy an over-the-counter orthotic for this type of foot, it's just very difficult to find one that matches the arch very well. Most of them have a lot of gap in this area, so they don't do a particularly good job at transferring pressure. If you go to our website and do a search for high arched feet, you'll find a list of what we think are the best ones that are currently on the market. But none of them are great. They just don't really make ones with that high of an arch. It's primarily financial. If they made it for somebody with that high of an arch, very few people could tolerate it, and they just wouldn't sell enough of them to make it worthwhile to manufacture those. So instead, people with high arches often need a custom orthotic. And this isn't a great example because although this matches a little closer than that over-the-counter device, there's still some gapping there. But that device really needs to be made to conform perfectly to the arch of your foot. That's called a total contact orthotic. You're only going to probably find that from a podiatrist that specializes in orthotic therapy and really understands how you need to make an orthotic for high arched feet. So if you're in our area, make an appointment to see us. If you're not, go try and find a podiatrist that specializes in orthotic therapy. Now we can take this little pad here and just add that underneath, and you kind of get a better idea of how that orthotic really should match the arch of the foot. Now, some other problems that you can commonly see with people with high arches is there's a greater tendency to sprain the ankle. And that's because if you look at this first metatarsal bone on a high arched foot, it usually sits lower down than the others. So when the high arched foot person hits the ground, this hits the ground first under that first metatarsal and will force the foot that direction. Now that can also be corrected with orthotic therapy by using a wedge on that orthotic that supports the foot under the outside to stop that heel from rolling in so much. Finally, patients with high arched feet often get hammer toe problems because their toes are curled up like that. And again, if you just go to our website and do a search for high arched feet, we'll give you some suggestions on shoes that won't put pressure on this area.